Okay, sit yourself onto the lift and then come into a good cross-legged position. Just have a little roll about on the cushion. Make sure that you feel like you're sitting with levelness and evenness. So levelness at the hips, evenness at the feet. Just feel that you're creating a good solid foundation for your seat bones. Just spend a moment just observing your position. Hold on to your knees. Lift up into the chest. Elevate the heart area upwards. Draw your shoulders down away from your ears. Look down at the floor. Look at something that isn't moving. And just focus on filling your lungs from the bottom to the top and emptying your lungs from the top to the bottom. Trying to draw your intellectual body into action. The body of observation. So spend a little time following the breath so that the mind can become still and part of the body. But try and draw in the back brain, the intellectual body. Draw in your mode of physical observation. Observe whether the way that you are sitting aggravates an existing condition, or whether you can find a way to sit with complete neutrality. Bring your hands into Namaste, press the palms firmly together, lengthen your armpits into your elbows. And with an exhalation, gently allow your eyes to close. So taking away that visual stimulus, maintain your visual perception of the physical body through the feelings of the pose. Just observing where there is freedom, where there is sensitivity. So sensitivity from the perspective of deep mental connection, but also sensitivity from the perspective of an area of concern. So through observation, we learn to activate. Through activation, we go back to observation, activation, observation, activation. And through that sequence of observation and activation, we develop sensitivity. Connection to the senses. Draw your chin down to meet your chest. Make your chest reach up to meet the chin. Spend a moment to seek to generate a genuine, heartfelt sense of gratitude for something or someone or somewhere. Hold on to that feeling of abundance in the heart area, and then release the backs of your hands down toward your knees. Bring the tips of the index finger with the tips of the thumbs, backs of the hands on the knees, palms facing upwards. And then with an exhalation, allow your eyes to open as you raise your head. Just hold onto your knees, lift up into the chest, drawing your shoulders down away from your ears. Take a deep inhalation and then turn to the right side, drawing your abdomen across your ribs and your shoulders, observing how that feels for the physical body. Engaging the intelligence of the intellectual body. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Just feel the pose and maintain your observation of that pose. Do you focus around areas of injury? Quite possibly you do. But as long as you're not aggravating that injury, try to draw your attention beyond that area of resistance, whether physical or mental, and draw your attention into other areas of the body that present little or no resistance. Feeling the body in 3 dimensions. Come back to the center. Hold onto your knees. Feel the body in 3 dimensions. See the body, although the eyes are looking forwards and maybe you can't see the full body. Take a deep inhalation and with an exhalation turn to the left. Drawing your abdomen across your ribs and your shoulders. Digging the back hand into the floor. Just observing the sensations of the pose. Observing the balance of the seat bones, balance of the feet on the floor, the action of the legs, the levelness of the hips, the extension of the spine, the turning of the spine. Just observe those physical sensations. And then come back to the center. Come off your lift. Sit back on your heels. Sit back on your heels. Just observe how that feels in your legs, in your knees, in your hips. And then work to, rather than just passively sit back on the heels, work to activate the shins. Press in the shin bone into the shin skin. so that the thighs activate, so that you can extend that activation into the spine, so that you can elevate the heart area upwards, drawing the shoulders down. And then as you start to come forwards, do you lose the consciousness of the shins? So try and maintain that action of the shins. Try and keep the seat bones down on the heels. And then come forward, spreading your fingers, spreading your palms. And then stretching forwards. Breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Listening to the breath. Opening up the armpits by lengthening into the arms. Turn the armpits out to face the sides of the room. Keep the activation of the shins so that you maintain the activation of the thighs. Keep the seat bones down on the heels and lengthen from the hips into the armpits, into the elbows, into the wrists, into the palms. Come up onto your knees, have your hands as wide apart as the mat, have your feet as wide apart as the mat, and then come up into dog down. Come up into dog down and observe how the pose feels for you. If you're not doing dog down today, then you can do dandasana. Observe areas of resistance, areas of discomfort. If there are injuries, observe how those areas respond to the pose and be sensitive to those injuries. Observe them, but don't obsess about them. Observe how they feel. Just feel how much attention you can bring to that region. Draw your attention elsewhere. Listen to the breath. Observe whether there is anything that you can do to reduce the impact on an area of resistance. Listen to the breath. Step your feet forwards, come up into a standing position, and then get some blocks for your hands. And then align the edge of your feet with the edge of the mat. Your hands on your hips, turn the fronts of the thighs inwards, lift up into the chest. And then hinge at the hips, come forwards, hinging at the hips, bring the hands underneath the shoulders, be on the fingertips. Activate your legs, tightening the kneecaps, tightening the thigh muscles, lifting the thigh muscles, the fronts of the thighs especially, all the way to the tops of the legs, turning the fronts of the legs inwards. So sometimes within the pose you realise that the pose aggravates an existing condition. So at the moment I've injured my finger at the kind of finger joint, and so dog down was starting to feel uncomfortable. So I came out of it, tried to identify what it was that was creating the discomfort, and then went into it with a variation. So I turned my hands outwards rather than stretching my fingers forwards, and that took the pressure away from the hand or the joint. So I could go back into the pose. So at the higher lift, observe where there is resistance, where there is freedom. If you can go down lower without aggravating an existing condition, and that requires a sensitivity brought about by a dedication to observation and activation. Be observant of areas of the body that you weren't expecting to observe. Listen to the breath, listen to the breath, listen to the body. Listen to the body's response to the pose. So often the ego wants to go more deeply into the pose, but the physical body isn't always ready. So it's learning to listen and acknowledge and activate in accordance to the observation. Bring your hands into your hips, bend your knees on the way up if you need to, and then come up into Tadasana. Just be in Tadasana. Have the inner edge of the feet together, lift up into the chest. Breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath, just finding your Tadasana. Turning the fronts of the thighs inwards, tucking the tailbone in. Just observe how the physical body feels in Tadasana. So spread the toes. Bring your weight into your heels by hitting your shins back. Turn the shins inwards, the fronts of the shins inwards. Tighten the kneecaps, draw the inner knees towards the back of the room, turn the fronts of the thighs inwards. Keep your weight in your heels, tuck the tailbone in, draw the abdomen to the spine. Draw the lower ribs towards the spine, lift the heart area upwards, draw your shoulders down to the floor, lengthening into the fingertips. Lengthen the neck out of the shoulders and up into the head. So feel how the body responds to this neutral position. There should be Tadasana in all of the standing poses. We look for Tadasana in all of our poses. So it makes sense to spend a little time in Tadasana, observing whether Tadasana itself aggravates a condition or whether it allows freedom from that condition. So feel and adjust so that any condition isn't exacerbated by the pose. Find your Tadasana with that adaptation, as long as it's not putting things out of line. See if you can bring that into the other poses. Bring your arms out nice and wide in towards your chest, and then step or jump your feet apart nice and wide for trikonasana. And then turn your left toes in, your right leg and foot all the way out, facing the front, facing forwards, and then reach over to the right leg. Look up. So where is your Tadasana in this pose? Tadasana starts at the feet, moving up into the legs. In these stand-in poses where you're facing kind of to the side effectively, you do different action with the legs. You turn the legs outwards rather than inwards to facilitate space in the hips. So turn the fronts of the thighs outwards from the big toe side to the little toe side rather than the other way around. Observe whether you're doing something that triggers or activates a injury. Just work with that sensation of observation. Listen to the pose. Reach up, come back to the center, swap the feet around, turn the right toes in and the left leg and foot all the way out. Again, the legs turn outwards when the trunk is facing kind of to the side, if you like. And then come over and then reach up. Just find the pose, work to bring Tadasana into the pose, although it's a variated Tadasana because the legs just turn outwards, but you still operate the legs in the same way. You just turn them in a different direction. Be in the pose from the activation, from the observation. Observe your ego's role in the pose. Do you always feel the need to go deeper into the pose before the body is ready for it? Do you listen to the body? Because if we don't listen to the body, then injury can occur. If we listen to the body, if we observe it, and not necessarily working with the extreme caution of, kind of someone who doesn't take anything, any risks anywhere, but just observe how the body feels if you're doing it without the ego. If you're just satisfied to be at a simple stage of the pose. Come back to the center, bring the feet parallel, and then step or jump the feet back together, come back into Tadasana. Observe how the body feels. Observe where the body feels the pose. Observation and activation. Are you listening to the pose? Breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. So we can do padangusthasana. So stand with your feet hip width apart. You might need a belt for this. So you might want a belt, and then to hook the belt around the big toes. So just get the big toes around the belt, and then you hold onto the belt, and then you just hold onto the belt coming forwards with a straight back. So it's always important that you come forwards with a straight back. So have your feet hip width apart, or you can go slightly wider if you know that you can just about get to the floor, but maybe you just need a bit of extra space. And then have your hands on your hips. Turn the fronts of the thighs inwards as deeply as you can. Because that action of turning the fronts of the thighs inwards will give you space in the hips. So lift up into the chest, elevate the heart area upwards, and then hinge at the hips. Keep your hands on your hips. hinge at the hips, come forwards, lengthening forwards, and then reach down, get hold of the big toe, index finger and the middle finger underneath the big toe, wrap the thumb around the inside of the big toe, and then reactivate those uttanasana legs, those tadasana legs. Feel the pose from the feet into the shins, into the kneecaps, into the thighs, press in the fronts of the legs through to the backs of the legs. Lift the seat bones. Project the chin and the chest forwards, maintaining a straight back, trying to concave in the shoulder blade region. Have a tug of war with your big toes like they're a nail hammered into the floor. Try and rip the nail out of the floor. If you can bend your elbows out to the side, but all the time keeping your arms straight. Bring in your body down, but just working with observation and activation and sensitivity, and trying to observe the pose without the ego. So sometimes doing these online classes is a better environment in some cases, because sometimes when you're doing yoga in a room with other people, you see people being a little bit competitive. They look at other people, what other people can do, and they try to force themselves to do the same thing because they feel like they should be able to do it, rather than whether the body is ready to do it. So work with the pose, observe it, and then release your hands down to the floor, bring your hands into your hips, bend your knees on the way up if you need to, and then come up into Tadasana. Just be in Tadasana, just listening to the breath. Focusing on long, slow, deep, deliberate breaths. Have a couple of blocks in front of you, and then stand at the back edge of your mat and come into Tadasana. So we're going to go into prasarita padottanasana. Breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. Just observing your Tadasana. Observing Tadasana within the pose. And then bring your arms out nice and wide into the chest, and then step or jump your feet nice and wide. And then turn your toes in. Have your hands on your hips and just observe how the pose feels for you. Are your legs activating? Are the fronts of the legs turning inwards like in Tadasana? Are the fronts of the legs pushing through to the backs of the legs? As in Tadasana, lift up into the chest. Wing the elbows towards each other behind you, and then come forwards, hinging at the hips. And then reach down, find the floor. Or if you can't find the floor, use some blocks underneath your hands. So again, observe from the body's response. Observe what the ego wants. Listen to the breath. Feel the pose from the feet into the legs. Hit the shins back so that your weight goes into your heels. Tighten the kneecaps. Press the fronts of the knees through to the backs of the knees. Turn the fronts of the legs inwards. Lift the seat bones towards the ceiling. Project the chin and the chest forwards. If you can, and there is space to do so, come forwards a little further. Bring in the chest and the chin down towards the floor, and then bring the top of the head down onto the floor. But stay in the first stage if. So this isn't the pose. don't just bring your head to the floor. You bring your head to the floor last. So you don't feel the need to bring the head down. Keep the head lifted, if anything. So, because bringing the head down from here just makes you round your back and then you lose the pose. So just try and observe what the body wants. Maintain your breath, deep inhalations and exhalations. Bringing the heels of the hands in line with the heels of the feet, fingers pointing forwards. Okay, and then stretch the chest forwards, come up into the halfway point if you brought your head down, and then bring the heels of the hands down, and then step or jump your feet back together, and then come back up into Tadasana, and then raise your arms over your head. Sirvasana. Listening to the breath, working from the feet into the legs, into the spine, observing how areas of typical injury for you, how they feel. Whether you have been working with sensitivity or ego. Release your arms down and then come down into supta baddha. Come down into supta baddha, soles of the feet together, knees apart. Breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, just resting your hands on your lower ribs. So sometimes we use the word ego in a particularly derogatory way, like it's someone who's got an inflated sense of self, and that certainly is a perception of the ego, but in relation to yoga, the ego is a little more subtle than that. You could connect the ego to the front brain, the brain of aspiration. So the mental body is the body of aspiration and of activity, of doing. But if you just operate entirely from the front brain, then you just keep going and going and going until you burn yourself out. And so it's bringing together the intelligence of the back brain, the intellectual body, and observing over the desire to go further and further and further. And of course, that's not about halting progression, but it's about observing when the body is ready to progress. And some days the body is ready to progress, other days the body is ready to just be in the mode of observation. So determining that can help to maintain a body that isn't continually aggravating itself. Stretch your arms to the ceiling, either interlock your fingers and turn the palms all the way out, or hook the thumbs together, which is what I'm doing at the moment because of my finger injury. Hook the thumbs together like you're doing a silhouette of a butterfly, and then lengthen your arms along the floor. If there's stiffness in your hips or in your shoulders, then put supports there. So have blocks out on the outsides of the thighs. You You can have a folded blanket or some blocks under your hands to support the shoulders. Or just feel how the body feels along the floor. Straighten your arms, whichever version of the pose you were doing. Just listen to the breath. So all that focus on the mental body, the front brain, and the intellectual body, the back brain, is all very head orientated until you engage in the breath. So the breath draws the mental body into the physical body, and that is the balance that we need. So observe your breath. Observe your breath, observe your physical body's response to the pose, to staying in the pose. Have you become just completely passive, or are you actively pursuing the pose? Swap the interlock of the thumbs or the fingers. Keep stretching the arms away. Breathe in through the nose and out through the nose, listening to the breath. If you hook your thumbs together, spreading the fingers, the more you try and prise the thumbs apart, the more you try and prise the arms apart, the more the armpits open. Listen to the breath. Okay, and then gently release your arms down to the floor, down to the hands, down to the lower ribs rather. Just rest your arms. And then bring the knees together, have the knees together and the feet apart for a moment, just resting your back into the floor. Just listening to the breath. Just observing how the physical body feels at this precise moment in time. Whether there is freedom, where there's often resistance, whether there's resistance, where there's usually freedom. Just feel how the body feels on the inside. It's the physical body, not the ego. Okay, pull your feet in towards the chest. Sorry, not in towards the chest, in towards the seat bones. So pull the feet as close to the seat bones as you can. Bring the seat bones as close to the heels as you can. So shuffle the heels down up to the seat bones, shuffle the seat bones down to the heels. So we can do supta kapotasana, the reclining pigeon pose. So keep the left foot where it is, as close to the seat bone as you can, and then bend the right knee and draw the right knee. So get hold of the front of the right knee and draw that right knee in towards the chest. Observe what happens in the hips. Does the right hip kind of leave the floor? Or can you keep the backs of the hips firmly down onto the floor as you pull the knee in towards the chest? Flex the heel of that right foot so that you activate the shin. Draw the knee as much into the chest as you can. And then release a little, and then cross the right foot across the top of the left thigh. If you can, you bring that foot in towards the inner left pelvis, but not everyone can do that, and that's fine. Just bring the foot onto the leg wherever is comfortable for you. Just hold on to that right foot with your left hand, and then encourage initially that right knee to lengthen away from the body so that you open up the front of the groin. Lengthening that knee away from the body, and then just release. Just let that knee be soft. And then hook the fingers around the back of the left knee, and then draw that left knee in towards the chest. Just feel the stretch of the glutes and the hamstrings on the right side especially. Just listening to the breath. Listening to the body's response to the pose. Working with observation and activation. If your foot is in the heel, so if your foot is in the inner pelvic bone, then that's a good massage on the abdomen. But see if you can bring that foot up a little higher towards the knee, and then draw the foot in towards the chest again. Just reach behind the left knee, and you just get a more intense stretch of the hamstrings. Flex both heels. And then gently bring that left foot down, uncross the right foot, bring the right foot down as close to the seat bones as you can. Just breathing into the pose. Observe how the pose feels in your knees, how it feels in your hips, and how the hips and the knees feel now. Okay, and then bring your left knee in towards the chest, flexing that left heel. Bringing the knee down into the chest. And then cross the left foot over the top of the right thigh. Hold onto that left foot with the right hand, and then encourage that left knee to stretch away from the body, away from the chest. Observe how this feels in your knees, how it feels in your legs and your hips. Just let that left leg relax for a moment. Have the foot on top of have that left foot on top of the right thigh, and then get hold of the back of the right knee, and then draw the knee in towards the chest. Keep the hips down on the floor if you can. Pulling that right knee in towards the chest, flexing both of your heels. Again, you can always bring the foot up the thigh a little, just to really extend the hamstrings. And then gently release. Just let the body relax down into the floor, and then again just coming back into supta, padangusthasana, soles of the feet together, knees apart. Just rest your hands on your lower ribs, observing how the physical body feels. So maintaining your observation and activation. So in some poses, activation is release. To actively relax. Okay, bring your knees together, your feet apart. So we can go up into setubandha. So if you're not doing setubandha, you can do viparita karani, just holding the edges of the mat, stretching your legs up to the ceiling, or you can stay in supta baddha. So get yourself a block, pull your feet as close to the seat bones as you can, and then lift the tailbone up off the floor. Gather your shoulder blades together so you come right up onto the tops of the shoulders. That's a really essential element of the pose. So you've got to be right up on the top of the shoulders, and then place the tall end of the brick into the sacrum tailbone region. And hold the edges of the mat. Just make sure that you're in line with your mat. Hold onto the edges of the mat, turning the inner elbows up to the ceiling and out to the sides of the room. So just stretch one leg, see how that feels in the back and in the hips, and then bring it back, stretch out the other leg along the floor, see how that feels in the hips and in the back. And if it feels okay, then you can push both heels into the mat and slide the heels away, keeping the heels in contact with the mat. Just feel the openness of the front chest. Just observe how this pose activates the body. Does it aggravate, or does it present freedom? So if it aggravates, it might be that the block is in the wrong place. So just adjust the position of the block a little, and then go back and see if that solves the problem. Keep turning the inner elbows out to the sides of the room. Keeping your arms straight, holding onto the edges of the mat like you want to tear it apart. Keep the legs activated in Tadasana, turning the fronts of the thighs inwards, turning the inner knees down to the floor, keeping the legs straight. Keep the observation and activation so that you develop the sensitivity to understand if there is an area of resistance or discomfort, how you can adjust so that you still get the stretch but without the aggravation. Again, sometimes it's recognizing whether the ego is doing the pose. Okay, bring the feet back to the block, as close to the block as you can. Chances are you have to come onto the tiptoes and then lift the seat bones up off the block. Adjust the shoulders on the way down so that you can guide yourself down back onto the floor, and then just pull your knees in towards your chest. Just have a little rock from side to side, from top to bottom, just acknowledging and feeling that sensation of massage on the back as you rock from side to side. Okay, and then when you're ready, roll onto your right side, push your elbow into the floor, come up into a seated position. Just come up into cross legs, and with your hands on your knees, lift up into the chest, elevating the heart area upwards, observing how the physical body feels. So sit on the lift if you need to, and then turn to the right side. Draw your abdomen across, your ribs across. Just observe how your body responds to the pose. observation beyond any areas of resistance, acknowledging them, of course, but drawing your observation beyond that area that yells for your attention. Come back to the center and then turn to the left. And then come back to the center. Just bring folded blanket underneath. So bring a folded blanket onto your mat and then guide yourself down onto the floor. Make sure you're in a really good straight line, so be on your elbows. Make sure you're in a really good straight line right down the center of your mat. And then just move any equipment out of the way that might be in the way. And then just allow the body to release into the floor. Just observing the straight line of the floor. Observing how the physical body feels in connection to the floor. Let the physical body become heavy. Let go of the muscles of the arms and the legs, unhooking them so that they land heavily on the ground. And then out of that sensation of release, observe that feeling of energy radiating from the bones and into the muscles and the organs. Use your in-breath and your out-breath to distribute that feeling of energetic lightness evenly down into the tips of the toes, into the fingertips, up into the top of the head. And when you're ready to disturb yourself, just wriggle your toes, wriggle your fingers, bend your knees, bring your knees in towards your chest, have a little rock from side to side, from top to bottom. And then roll over onto your right side. Just stay down for a breath or two. And then straighten out the top leg. Come back up into a seated position. Just final cross legs with your hands in the masti. Just a final spinal lift. Draw your breath in through your nose down into the abdomen. Be conscious of the energy you have released through your practice this morning, that good, positive, healthy flow of clean energy that the extensions and the forward bends and the twists and the inversions bring to the body and to the mind. And then draw your chin down to meet your chest. Just spend a moment to acknowledge the positive energy you have created inside. And then send some of that positive energy out into the world. And then gently release the backs of your hands down toward your knees, palms facing upwards, connecting the tip of the index finger with the tip of the thumb, just a gesture of wisdom and physical intelligence and peacefulness that we can carry into our day. Just raise your head, allow your eyes to softly open and the focus to softly come back. Just spend a moment to observe how the body feels different now to how perhaps it felt at the beginning. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining me. So hopefully you feel as though you really lifted and stabilised your energy